Everybody, welcome to the Age of Ruin and Exploration Lone Wolf Play Along series. If you've been here before, you know that the video is going to be timestamped in the title, and just collect your henchmen and go to that time point and get ready to go and rumble. Today we're going to do a zombie tango. Basically take your PC, some henchmen, and go on an adventure. This is going to be just a straight up zombie fight. So you can choose to be a cleric, you can choose to be a fighter, choose any class that you want. But I will show you how to do all those things or create characters if this is your first time here. So I'm going to go ahead and just move forward here, show you some of the basics of the solo play along series. Like I said, we are going to go through a character creation portion of this because I don't want you to leave here and have to go to a different video essentially to get the game going. So before you start, you have to have some general RPG tabletop role-playing game experience and know how to read these stat blocks. So right here, what we're looking at on the top left here is a Shadowdark stat block. Let me pull that over a little bit. You can see there's armor class, AC, ATK is attack, HP is hit points. We got move, which is near. This is essentially a 30-foot movement, strength, dexterity, constitution, and talents, wisdom, charisma +1, and alignment neutral level 3. Okay, so if you understand these letters here, you should be able to play right along. And you have to know how to make some checks, right? So if I tell you to make a strength check, make a dexterity check, make a observation check, perception check, wisdom check, you have to know which one of these stats to roll. I mean, I'll tell you which one to roll, but you got to know what those things mean. So you have to have some general tabletop role-playing experience of play. And what we're going to do is we're going to level up our PC, create a PC. I'm going to go to show you how to do that. This is largely based on Shadowdark. This is essentially a Shadowdark play along. Before you run away, Shadowdark is a 1E, 5E hybrid. And it's just D&D. So if you played any D&D type game, Pathfinder, Dungeon Crawl Classics, anything like that, this is very familiar for you. And you'll know exactly how to play. Now, during the video, if at some point, tell you to make a check and I don't really say what the number is, it's always a DC 10 if I don't say. All right, otherwise I'll tell you exactly what number you need to roll. Again, skip to the timestamp if you know you got a character leveled up. We're going to be playing from anywhere between levels 3 and 7, and we balance that out through using henchmen. Now if any of these images or this video feed is a little blurry, it's very likely because of your settings on your channel. So you can go ahead and adjust it to a higher settings, or the highest settings you can get to really clean up some of these small prints in case you're having a hard time reading them. This is also a live feed, right? So normally it takes a little bit longer to run through these. And if you're a little bit more of a faster listener, you can bump this up to 1.25 speed. And again, that's just an option that's on the settings as well. We are going to be using the 2-point action combat system, which I've created for basically all OSR games which have a math problem in terms of the types of things you can do on your turn. Or if you could only do a move or an action in your game, this really kind of gives you a little more options, a little more action essentially. But we're going to be using Shadowdark monsters. They have multi-attack. Most Shadowdark monsters are pretty strong. I'll go over that. Now this whole game is compatible with all these OSR games, right? OSR being old school Renaissance, old school retro, creative. Any of these here, Shadowdark, Torchlight, D&D 1E5BX, Back Me, D&D 1E2E, old school essentials, Osric, White Box. If you have that rules encyclopedia, which I guess I should put it on here, but it's basically BX and Back Me plus a bunch of supplemental material combined. You can play with any of these, okay? Now we are going to be using Shadowdark rules in terms of magic, or at least that's the way I'm thinking about it. But if you happen to want to use your own magic system, go ahead and do that. Keep track of your slots, stuff like that. There is a second ability to do a second spell using this 2-action point system. The only limitation is the spell can only be tier 1, level 1, cantrip, rank 1, whatever it is. It can only target a single thing and can't be incapacitating, right? It has to be non-incapacitating. So again, we'll go over this 2-point action system a little bit later. But the first thing I want to do is create your character. Okay, so you're here, you're ready to go. I might timestamp the if you already have a character sheet, how to get some gold pieces, and then give yourself some equipment before we get going. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull up this web page here. I already, I was messing around here, but to make a character within 2 minutes, even less than that, we're going to go to shadowdarklings.net. and that's here. Here we go. Okay, so if you go to shadowdarklings.net, it'll be in the description, so don't worry about that. Go to shadowdarklings.net/create, and you can see in this creator that has all the curse scrolls clicked in blue here. That means that they're active to be chosen from. But I'm going to go ahead and unclick these because we're just going to create some random character and really just show you that you can generate a character really quick. Now, there's a lot of tabs here, a lot of drop-down options. You can go through them if you have the time. Like right now, you can pause the video, open the browser, and go straight to this and create a character. And at the very end, this gives you a PDF to work with, so that's really nice. So next thing I want to do is go ahead and look at these options. So there's design. We want to do general, random. So design character, design a character. We want to do random 1. Okay, keep it at best fit. Okay, so that's going to give you, that means if you're a fighter, it's going to give you higher strength. You're a thief, it's going to be your dexterity and so forth. So we're going to do that. And then we're just going to generate random character. Okay. And let's say I was happy with this and I wanted to be a level 1 dwarf fighter named Bruce. So it gives you a name. You can see the strength should be the highest attribute. However, in this case, it gives us a high charisma. We can also regenerate another character. So let's say I'm not happy with this guy. Now we got draw, bruffed, half-orc thief. Again, should have higher dexterity. Not sure if I keep getting boosted on this charisma here, but here we have higher charisma. Do another one. Elf wizard should have higher intelligence. Here we go, plus 15. I would say you can click this button until you get a solid 16, 17 roll for your primary attribute, the one that is most important for that class. It's something we used to do back in the day when I'm a grognard. So back in the day, we used to just re-roll, recreate character sheets. We would literally trash the character sheet until we got the character sheet we wanted. So what I want to do now, so let's say, okay, so not an elf wizard. I'm going to click this until I get what I just told you. I want a 16 somewhere or higher. Here's a 16 intelligence. It's a thief though. Do we want an intelligent thief? It could be useful for this game. So let's just say I was happy with this. I can scroll down. You can see you can change ancestry. You can change languages. Here's the thief. Here's the different talents that the thief gets. It says human ambition talent. So because I'm a human, I get to add these bonuses. You can see going to the dexterity. Here's the hit points. But I want a milestone. This is only so we can do it much faster. And I want to be level 3. Remember, I said we wanted players to be from level 3 to level 7. So I'm just going to gain to level 3. And then you can see there's, you can roll for some hit points. Roll for more hit points for level 3. And then roll on that class talent. And I want to get a +2. Actually, let's see. It'll let me get a 20 dexterity for my character. Beautiful. And if I'm ready to go, here's a button called export PDF. It generates the PDF. So I took a little longer just because I was messing with, but you can see I can clearly generate a character within seconds. It's looking like it's just playing pretty good. So if you want to be this thief here, 3rd level thief, you can stop the screen, screenshot this, make your phone sideways if you're playing on your phone. You can use the snipping tool on a PC. I'm not sure how they do it on Mac. But you can do that or just create your own character. Okay, so now we have a full-blown character here. Hit points, armor class, gear, all the skills on the side. We're ready to go. Okay, so now that we have a character, we want to equip our character. Okay, so let me go ahead and go to the very next section. Now, I mentioned that if you have a, BX PC or something like that, you can play along, and that's completely legit. You can even use the bonus modifiers from those BX. I know it's a lot lower. It's usually +2 to +3 on those higher ends of numbers. But what Shadowdark does is it uses 5e ability modifiers or stat modifiers. So if you're more than welcome to use these stat modifiers instead of what they show on BX or BECME, whichever it is you're playing, or these OSE games, if you want. And then also, it's not a descending armor class, so we can easily convert your armor class, whatever it is. Oh, this is the one thing I did want to show you. I wanted to show you if you want to use a BX character, which is very, I would say pretty much identical to a BECME character. You can go to this fastcharacter.com, same situation, pick D&D BX. I always like being an elf because back in the old days, a wraith was a class because it was a style of living. And so again, we would just pick level 3. And it should give us the optimal fit to whatever attribute we want to be. So then you just click generate, and we got a full character sheet here. Now it's a little not zoomed in, but I can, go in a little bit here. And you can see you got a full-blown character, Aryan Varrock, 3rd elf of Chaotic. For armor class, we can convert that. 14 hit points to strength, intelligence. You can cast some magic, and you can see the weapons at the bottom. So you'd be essentially ready to go, right? If you wanted to use this guy, you can screenshot him, or just go to fastcharacter.com and generate him real quick, do some screenshots there. Okay, so now let's get back to this here. If you did a BX character, now you can convert that level 4 armor class. It's actually more like a 16, and now you know what your armor class is for the game, at least in terms of what the more current editions use for armor class. We are going to go briefly over this 2-point action system because this is what we're going to be using for our game. You can see here that, most OSR games, a lot of these, I guess they're OSR because it's either retro or it's Renaissance. They can usually make you do, especially like in D&D 1E and even 2E, you can either move and attack or move, but you can never attack. And so I think that's a little silly. I look at these actions as energy, and so therefore you should be able to expend. If you're stationary, you should be able to expend that movement energy on an attack. So the way it works is you always have 2 points at any given time, and as soon as combat starts, there's a possibility of you taking reactions. Let me zoom in a little more. But if it's your turn on melee and you haven't taken any reactions, you have 2 points, so you can. Primary move is going to be move, melee, spell, cast, or range attack. I need to update this a little bit. But then the second time, if you're not going to move, you can, again, obviously move to your second move, which is pretty common for any OSR type game. But you can also take a second attack if you took a first attack, right? So a first melee attack. Now, you get a -3 penalty to that attack, and the reason is it's all part of the role play. If you swing once at somebody melee, and then you try to go in for a second attack, they're going to clearly be more ready for you. That's why you're less likely to strike them, because they're ready for you. Now, if you do a second spell cast, like I said, for Shadowdark, once you cast the spell and you fail it, you can no longer cast the spell. This is why it works a little bit better for Shadowdark, because it's a high risk to use that spell casting twice for your character in any given combat situation. So a second spell cast has to be a tier 1 spell, single targeting, and non-incapacitating. And I went through all the different scrolls, the curse 1 through 6, and these are the spells that I found that have these properties for a second spell cast. And you can see the wizard can use the most amount of spells for that second spell cast. The priest clearly can use to cure wounds, which is exactly what you would like. But then you just cast that spell, and again, if you fail your roll, you can't cast the spell until you take your rest. Now the reactions, parry, block, okay, -2 to the attacker. So as a reaction, and if you can if you know you can make that attack miss, you can throw in a parry in there, it causes a -2 to the attacker. And just to make that dexterity modifier matter for the 2 combat action system, you can add your modifier number to this negative, right? So if you have a dexterity of, let's say, 13, you got a +1, just take the whole number, add it to this, so it's a -3 penalty against the person. Now think about it, you must have a weapon, you must have a shield, something you can parry or block with. And the other reaction I have here is the dive. This is supposed to simulate what you see in the movies, where it's the last resort. Your character could potentially die, and you basically dive to anywhere that's line of sight of your character, right? There has to be space available for you to dive to, any space next to you, or whatever your maximum jump distance is. So you're going to get -5 penalty to the attacker, but you're going to fall prone, okay? And then it costs an action down here for miscellaneous actions. It costs a point to get back up, right? So all these things here cost 1 point to do. You only get 2 points, and there is no jump formula for Shadowdark, so I created one. Basically, it's a 1 plus strength modifier, minimum of 1. So regardless of what your strength stat is, you can always dive to one space in front of you, allowing you to take this dive action. And then, ×2 this jump if you have your full move. So if you move first, you can then jump and basically use this formula here to determine how far you can jump. That's the 2-point action system. I mentioned the compatibility, so all these OSR-like games, or OSR-like games. Now, I think the next thing we need to do is just equip your character. We are going to have henchmen, so remember, you can choose you chose a character between the levels 3 and 7, and we'll talk a little bit about what that means for you when we start the adventure. The next thing I want to do is I want to equip you, right? So in Shadowdark, the money's a little more constrained. which means you have less GP or GP. There's a lot of items here that are a lot cheaper than it would be in Dungeons and Dragons. So, for example, this Alf that we got here has 234 gold pieces. That's relatively high. So what we're going to do, we would just, if you have this character sheet generator, we would cut that in. Actually, let's not use these gold pieces. We would just use the Shadowdark gold pieces that we're going to do here. So if you chose a level 3 character, okay, you're going to get 60 gold pieces, okay? If you chose a level 7 character, you're going to start with 280 gold pieces, okay? This is just clearly a sign of you adventuring. You have that extra money. So whatever starting equipment you got on that generator, now you can substitute or buy new things, sell your original equipment for half price. So it is, depending on how much time you have, you're going to do that. And let's look at these items, okay? You're also going to get a magical item. That's one thing I forgot to mention. If you're level 7, I'm going to give you 2, okay? So first things first, here's all the weapons. And now these are all the weapons and items from all the curse scrolls. I threw them in here so you don't have to go, look to see what they are, so you can see all the different weapons. Again, you have to be able to understand what these means. The type, melee, range, M for melee, R for ranged. For type of weapon it is. Range, close, far, near. Okay, these are all distances in Shadowdark, where close is up to 30, within melee, within 30 feet, near's closer than that, and then far is your long range distance. So it really uses these abstract ranges for Shadowdark. And then these weapons have properties. So we got armor here, armor class. It tells you how many gear slots it takes up. The armor class model mathematics or math that you need to do to get that number. And a lot of these weapons might have other properties like finesse, thrown, two-handed lash, breakable. Where's sundering? I love this sundering. When you are hit with the melee attack, you may choose to destroy this weapon or armor to negate all the damage from the attack. So that's pretty awesome. It's like in those movies when you see the shields break when they take a big blow. So you can purchase, this is basically where you can pause the screen, look at all these weapons, look at all these basic gears. We might use some of this gear stuff, it might come up, I don't know. A lot of this times I'm doing a busy dungeon master style of prep, and I'm just coming up with things on the fly. All right, so let's go ahead and move this over. So we chose, hopefully, your weapon, your basic gear. Move down a little bit just in case you want to look at some of this basic gear. Crawling kit here, can see what it is. Can just pause the screen, take those. And I said, you're going to get a magical item. So if you're from level 3 to 6, you're going to get 1 magical item. If you're level 7, you're going to get 2. And I want these magical items to make sense. Okay, so if you're some type of warrior, you probably want armor and a weapon. So just choose either from armor or weapon. If you're level 7, you can choose from one of each. These items, I want you to roll randomly though, okay? 2d6, you'll get these extra benefits to these items if you, but I want you to roll for it. It's possible that you get no benefits. But you would get some type of armor bonus. Now, sometimes some of these weapons, it's just important that they're magical because then they can kill things like Wraith. So again, if you're gonna keep this character, you can kill Wraiths with this. So go ahead and pick that. If you're a wizard, you can choose potion, scroll, any of these things. But these basically choose the magic item that best fits your character. Here you can see what the armor type is going to be. You can reference that equipment list to see what your armor class is going to be. Then randomly roll that armor class bonus, okay? This is where you got to be honest. And if you roll this benefit list here, you got 1. From 4 to 11, you get 1. Or 12, you get 2. Here's the armor benefit list, okay? So I'm going to just kind of go through these. You can pause. Roll this 1d12. Potion benefit. Okay, if you got a scroll, here's all the different magic spells, right? So first roll 2d6, determine what tier it is. Then once you figure out the tier, roll on the tier list spell here, 1d12. Go ahead and pause it when you can. And in the description, if you don't have some of these spells or you're not having the book with you, I'm going to put in the description a website you can go to look at all these spells, so you can know exactly what it does. So in case you got some type of utility item, here's that, okay? And here's the utility benefit, okay? Here's your weapon, so go ahead and, if you have a weapon, again, this one, I actually want you to choose your weapon if you got one, so just choose your weapon, because I think it only makes sense. You would not get a club and it's a plus, I don't know, maybe you like to have this +3 club, so it's up to you. I'm gonna say you can keep it or it's up to you. But basically you roll on this or just choose a weapon. This for sure roll. Weapon bonus. This cannot be something you choose. Again, even if it's a +0, it's a magical item, so it can actually hurt certain monsters. Here's the weapon benefits in case you got them. And after that, at this point, you should have a character. You should have maybe the 2-point action system with you. You know what? I think I'm going to copy this real quick. I'll edit this out real quick. I believe I have to like 13 or 14 in vivo play along videos now. So you can really, I'm a legit dungeon master. You can legitly take your PC on some adventures, get some XP. It'd be awesome. So without further ado, we're going to get ready to play our Age of Ruin solo play along series.
It has been several hundred years since the collapse of the Astoria Golden Age. A collapse caused by power and magic. The great houses have fallen. Magic knowledge has been all but lost, and all major cities have been abandoned and overrun by plant life and monsters. All that is left are barricaded small secluded hamlets, villages, and scarce towns. You are in the Age of Ruin. It is also the age of exploration. The few who dare leave their protected walls seek fortune, a better life, or power. Be part of the few, the bold who seek to rebuild, face the dangers, and discover of unearthed arcana. Your journey begins now.
So welcome to World's End Hamlet. We're at the east end of the known civilization in our world. I currently play this in Astoria, my own homebrew campaign setting. This is a hamlet. It's at the end of civilization. People come here for many reasons: for adventure, to change their lives, to get away, to find someone. And you arrive here. It's essentially the furthest known spot with people living there. Everybody here has a certain level of training for fighting, because everything even further east of this is overgrown plants and monsters, and occasionally they come here testing the boundaries of their monster world, attacking World's End. You arrive here at town, get to know everybody. This is the inn, and this is the general market, also known to have drinks and beverages and foods and entertainment. And so you arrive here having a good time. Middle of the day, it's fine. And while you're here having a good time walking through the mart and getting some snacks, drinking a nice beer, you start hearing some screaming down the road south from here. And you begin to see people marching and running towards your direction, just screaming because some type of ruckus is happening down there. So you, being the warrior that you are, head down to investigate. Now, some people you can see are cowards, are not following your lead, but you definitely want to see what's going on. So you continue to head down south of World's End. By the way, World's End is on our DonFranco3games.com, which is my website. It's free. It's a PDF, and also has NPCs on it. Go there and check it out. A bunch of other free stuff on there too as well. So you continue to go down, and before you know it, 3 zombies burst over this corner and begin to attack you. Okay. Now, at this moment, a certain number of men or henchmen follow you. They see your presence. They're all most likely, level 1 characters, and they basically see you and come to your aid. Now, if you remember, I said, what level are you? Depending on the level that you are, you're going to get a certain number of henchmen, okay? So, the number of henchmen you're going to get is 10 minus your level, right? So if you're level 7, you get 3 henchmen. If you're level 3, you get 7 henchmen, okay? And these are the henchmen to the right. Now, I want it to be a little bit randomized for you, so you either decide to take a ratio or make a 2d6 roll for every single henchman that you have, and that's going to determine whether you get an archer, footman, or a captain, okay? If you take the ratio, if you're a level 7 character, then you're only going to get 3 footmen, okay? And remember, you have 2 magic items. If you are a level 3 character, the ratio is the first 4 henchmen you get are going to be footmen. You get 1 archer for the number 5. Your number 6 is going to be a captain. And then you just go back full circle. So if you're level 3, you get 7 total, so you get 1 more footman. So you're going to have a total of 5 footmen, 1 archer, 1 captain. Okay? If no, or you can randomly roll for whatever number of henchmen you're supposed to get. So keep track of these henchmen, especially this, screenshot it if you have to. If you get a footman, they make flat attack rolls, and on a success, they do 3 points of damage. If they roll on that flat attack roll with 7 or less, they die. Okay? In addition, if you take a hit, right, because the monsters are going to attack you, you have to play the combat out. If you take a hit, instead of taking the damage, you can let one of these henchmen die. Okay? Preferably start with the footman. The archer's a little bit better in the sense that it's just functions just like an archer. It stays back away from the enemy, and it shoots from a distance. So unless there's a monster within its melee, let's say this is you here, you're the hero, we would say that depending if you're a cleric or a fighter, it would stand behind you or next to you. If you're a magic user or someone that's weaker, it would be next to you. And essentially fire off. You also control the attack. On a 7 or less, it dies, however, only if there's a monster within melee range. So if you're a fighter, it probably does you best to head here, and we can assume your ranger archer stays back here, unloads. Now, if all your henchmen are dead except for the archer, the zombie will charge him and attack the archer and kill him. Okay? That's only if there's no other henchmen there. Otherwise, it stays behind you, constantly shooting arrows. And again, if you take the hit from a zombie, you can go ahead and sacrifice any of these henchmen, preferably first the footman, maybe the captain, I don't know, because the captain is a little bit tougher. On a 4 or less, again, flat roll, 4 damage on a hit, and a 4 or less, they die. Okay? So these are the rules for the henchmen, and they go on your turn, right? So whenever the monsters attack, you let them do their thing. They attack you, your armor class, okay? Because the henchmen don't have any, you're not using them in that way. So unfortunately, if you're like a wizard, you're more likely to get hit, you're more likely to lose henchmen, okay? But you also got magic, so you're kind of a badass. And then on your turn, you roll a d20 for every henchman you have to attack, okay? And you play it out. You say you need to have a little bit of combat. So if you are a rogue or a thief, you can have some footmen here, we'll say, and you can sneak attack back here and kill this guy first. So I'll leave it up to you. So at this point, here's the zombie stab block. You should have some henchmen. And we're using the 2-point action combat system. Okay, so we move that here. Right, so you get 2 points, so it means you get up to 2 attacks. Go ahead and pause the video. And there's 3 zombies, 11 hit points each. They do 1 slam attack for 1d6 damage. That's a +2 to hit and 1d6 damage. That's how you read that. Remember, if a zombie reduced to 0 HP by non-magical swords, DC con, 15 con, to go to 1 HP. So hopefully you chose a magical item. It has to do some type of magic. It has to be magic, or you can kill it with some type of spell. Okay. Go ahead and do that. Play that out. 3 zombies. Alright. Now the next thing I want to do is, after you kill these zombies, we'll kind of just set them aside over here. You do draw the attention of more people in town, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to make a charisma check, okay? Make a charisma check. After seeing this, you engage with the city. They know there's a cemetery to the southwest. They want you to investigate. They trust you. They saw you just vanquish these zombies. And they're looking at you to give a good speech to the men surrounding you to see if you can rouse up more soldiers to come with you or more town people to come with you. So I want you to make a charisma check, okay, using your charisma check, charisma modifier, DC 10. If you succeed, roll an additional 1d4 plus your charisma modifier for henchmen that you get. If you succeed on that charisma DC 10 check. Okay, you gave a rousing speech. Come join me. We must save this town. Let's make sure that these people are not terrorized any further. Make that roll.
It is I, my liege. What do you need?
And again, if you succeed, just use either option here for the henchmen. Take the ratio or 2d6. It's up to you, whatever time you have. After that's done, you proceed to take your soldiers past the wall here. I could make you go all the way back to the gate, but we'll say there's an exit here, or a solid thick door that's really hard to get through. and you begin to head down. Immediately, when you head this way with you and your henchmen, you see another 3 more zombies. Okay. So again, pause the video. Again, 2-point action system. Here's their hit points. You have your henchmen. Do anything you want. If you're a priest, you can do turn of dead. Okay. Let's say you vanquish these zombies. Continue to head down towards, and 2 more zombies appear. Okay, so you can take range attacks if you want, or whatever. If you have bows, you can use your archer. I would say get a free shot at them. It's daytime, so you see them coming. Free range attacks. And otherwise, they get close to you and begin to engage in melee. So go ahead and play that out. Again, 2.9 combat action system. Henchman counter-strike rules that I have laid out. That's what I call those up there that we talked about. And once you get past these zombies, you do find a cemetery. At this point, you should have who knows how many number of henchmen. You get into the cemetery. Hell. Let's say 1 zombie does come out through here. You can take a ranged attack at it before it gets to you. And the very next round, it's up to you to engage in melee. So again, roll that out. 2-point combat action system. Should have brought it all with me. Apologies for that. Play it out. Okay. Now, after defeating this zombie, you go to the cemetery and you have some tough decisions to make. Okay, we're going to make this random. Okay? I don't want to make any decisions. You tell a few of your henchmen to go through and look for ways to, you go through the entire cemetery looking for things that are off. You notice some of these have been flipped over, and that's where some of the zombies came from. You also find 4 entrances. Actually, you find 1, 2, we'll just call this 1 because they're both going down the same area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entrances. Okay. So what I want you to do, actually, I'm going to do it together with you. Roll the dice. We want to do a d6, but we're going to ignore the 5. Okay. So let's go ahead and add that. Let's see. Can you see that? Probably not. Oh my God, it doesn't do it. At least you can see maybe the number up top. Yeah. So I rolled a 3. We're going to go to the 3rd stairwell. Okay. How do we number it? We were just there. I said 1, 2, 3. So we decide to head down this back staircase. And because of that, let's see. Now, hopefully you have torches with you. If you don't, I know it sounds ridiculous, but you do have to go back to town and get some torches. So hopefully you have that on that character sheet. You light it up because there's nothing lit down there. And you begin to head down the staircase here. Okay, so let's get zoom in on that. Sure, fine staircase. Now, the sad part is that we immediately went straight to the boss fight. So I was going to make this a lot more random. Very sad. But we kept down these stairs here, and we noticed immediately that there are 3 cultists praying and chanting. Okay? So I guess what I want you to do first is make a perception check or a wisdom check to see if you hear anything down there. Okay? You're listening for sounds as you're going down. Do you hear some chanting and some noise? If you do, then you get a bonus free attack. Not on this guy because you can't see him. But you get a free attack against these 3 cultists. Okay? So let me go ahead and pull this way. Okay. There's 3 cultists there. And as you're beginning to attack these cultists, hear them scream, "Athro! Hit them!" And essentially this giant flesh golem comes from behind the stage area here and begins to attack you. and your men. So you are somewhere situated here. You take range attacks against these three guys if you have them. I would also allow you to throw some henchmen at any of these guys, especially this guy first, okay? You can go ahead and do that. Got Golem stats here, the cultist stats here, 2-point action system. Whatever henchman you got. Now the Flesh Golem is beefy, 35 hit points. The cultist, decent armor class, low HP, so you might want to take them out first. Okay. So I'm going to let you play that out. And use your henchman. Okay. So normally I would stop here because this is the boss fight, but we need to get some action. So let's just say you kill these guys. And we need to clean up the leftover. These cultists brought back to life a lot of different zombies. And this place is infested. All right. At this point, I'm assuming you killed them. If you're the last man standing, that means, unfortunately, these guys are still around. Right, we're going to take that 2-point combat action system with us. So ignore these monsters. This is going to be our random encounter and direction so that we can go. So we're going to go ahead and we go walk through here. We see an open sarcophagus. This is our hero. This is our torchlight, bright versus dim light. We continue to walk through this. And in this room, I want you to make a 1d8 roll. Okay, so this is your personalized experience. Make a 1d8 roll. If you roll a 2, any even number, you see nothing in this room. If you roll any of these odd numbers, 1d8, this is how many zombies are in this room. Okay. So roll that d8. You didn't get 1, 2, 4, or 6. Now you can fight it out. Okay. So go ahead and do that. After doing that, you begin to search around the room. This wall has been collapsed. You can't get through there. This is completely collapsed. You can't get through there. So you're forced to check everywhere else around here. And you do find an entrance here. Now I want you to make a wisdom check. Or if you're a thief, you automatically notice that this door is trapped. Okay, DC 10 to disarm. Otherwise, you take 1d6 points of damage. Okay, or a henchman dies, it's up to you. Begin to go through the corridor and get to another point of interest, this room. Shout out to Tom Cartos who created this map. I don't know Tom Cartos, by the way. I just pulled this off the internet, but props to him for this map. It's pretty awesome. Now that you're in this room, I want you to make a random 1d8 roll again. And depending on what you get, you got it. That's how many zombies you're going to fight. You got to clean up the cemetery and the catacombs and the tombs. Make that roll. Go down here to the zombie stat plus the 2-point action system. Alright, so you clear up this area and continue to head down this way. Check this room. This door's collapsed here, but you do see a door going up right here, so you go up this area. Okay. That brings you exactly to this entrance here, okay? So now you're here. Now you can't went down this staircase. That leaves you with at least 2 more stairwells, okay? So you head down this way. To see what else is down there. Now you can say, well, I don't go down there. If you don't go down there, another zombie comes out and you have to fight. Otherwise, zombies will continuously come out of this until you completely clean this place out. So you head down this staircase. Here we are. We go check out this side. Alright, this place looks peculiar. I want you to roll a 1d8. Again, random encounter check. Remember how many zombies you got. 2-point action system. Kill those zombies. Alright, so we go ahead and look around here. This is the other side. Barricade. We continue to go up this way. What is over here? Okay, this is broken. We can't get through here. This is completely collapsed wall here. But you do find a door here. Again, if you're a thief, you see it, and you can chance to disarm it. If you're not a thief, and you're not skilled at this, you have to make a wisdom or perception check, DC 10, to spot it. Otherwise, it's 1d6 damage. So we're going to go through here. And you find another room of interest here, okay? There's a giant sarcophagus in the middle. You begin circling around. And you go back here. I see this staircase. I know exactly where that is. So I want you to make a 1d6, apologies, 1d8 zombie encounter roll. Same thing, 1d8 random. And depending on what you got, you may have gotten zombies. 1 through 6 zombies. Go ahead and roll that out. 2-point combat action system. And then you proceed to exit. And that is this stairwell here. Right, there's only one stairwell left. You went through here and you saw it, but we didn't go down this path. So we head down these dual staircase. Okay? And what you see is these are the dual staircases. Oh, apologies. I guess we could have went through here. It doesn't really matter. We go here and proceed to check out this hall area. You can see some of these sarcophaguses or coffins tombs have been knocked over and opened. You see a dead end here. Dead end here. And it looks like this is the end of it. So I want you to make another 1d8 roll to determine whether or not you see any more zombies. How many zombies, if any. And I want you to battle it out. Okay, 2-point action system. Here's the zombie stat again. Now, if you're going to keep this character, each zombie that you've killed, you're going to get 2 experience points and 2 pieces of gold for every zombie that you kill. So hopefully you track that. Okay. And you essentially go back to the surface. Double check everything and this place is clear. And that's it, everybody. You go back to town. The magistrate gives you an additional 5 gold pieces for taking care of this. That's 5 XP extra plus whatever you got. And I believe that ends it. Again, this is RPG Boons. I'm Don Franco 3. This is the Age of Ruin of Exploration. Solo play along, Lone Wolf style, legit OSR style, Shadowdark rules, but you can use any of the OSR games with this. Legit DM game. I'm a dungeon master. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to get a copy of that World's End City map, there's one at donfranco3games.com. It's all in the description. Also have a Bit-Aimancer, Arcane Scrapper, what's the other one? The Mentalist Pass that you can also for Shadowdark, essentially. And I got a bunch of, I have a Monster Conquest card game. You can see below my head here, image. You can see it's listed there. You can check out the videos for that. But I really hope you enjoyed the solo play along. Leave any feedback if you'd like. I really just want to get this DM experience out there and give people the ability to play. That's one thing we know. There's not enough DMs. So hopefully this is a good way for you to play on the side. Give your character some XP. And, if you have another group okay with your DM, I'm sure he'll okay it. Tell him, hey, is it okay if I do these side quests with Don Franco 3 at RPG Boons? Can I collect that XP and GP that he gives me? Is that okay on your downtime? Right? Should be legit. They should respect that. And DMs don't get to play much, so send your dungeon masters this way too. Okay? So that's it for me. Take it easy, and I hope you had a good time. See ya.